A vintage old hamburger chain, the kind some people call outdated, is like an unbeloved property just waiting to be restored. Steak and Shake has stood for 90 years and might stand for 90 more. But frankly, that's looking really unlikely these days. For whatever reasons, I've collected a few random clips of Steak and Shake's declining market presence in the St. Louis area over these recent years. About half the metro area's locations have closed since 2018. Some have been sold and converted to other businesses, some still stand closed, and many others have been demolished altogether. I know of only 2 locations that closed for non-endemic reasons and managed to reopen, and at least one of those has failed again. I'm afraid I don't have a lot of well-researched opinion or insight to offer on the matter, just some personal casual observation and field documentation, as I presume if you are watching this you already know about the buyout by Big Laurie in 2008 and the theories surrounding their 21st century struggles, not to mention the whole half-decade-old, shockingly cheap franchise offer that no one seems to be taking. That indicates to me there must be some dreadful caveats to the deal that even naive entrepreneurial hopefuls with a measly 10 grand can smell a mile away. Unfortunately, I doubt the current owners of the brand are even capable of turning it around at this point, and it will take someone else with a different business philosophy to bring back this American icon. Anyway, I essentially have 6 hours of raw Steak and Shake footage going back to 2019, and arguably this video pretty much contains some of the choicest cuts. I've got other future projects on the spit to cook up with it, but unless you have a voracious appetite for scenes of desolate Steak and Shake buildings, you can skip those, and hopefully this little disclosure will incline you to fry away some of your time watching something else I filmed. What's neat about filming 20 different locations is seeing the spectrum of design throughout the decades. They never all looked exactly the same, and I kind of appreciate them all from whenever they were constructed, even the kind of ugly ones, and now find the most prevalent 90s design iconically vintage in its own right. However, the crown jewel for me is obviously, of course, the now closed for half a decade but still patiently waiting to come back to life location on Lemay Ferry Road in South St. Louis County. And so here it is, in silent splendor. I seem to think it was built in the 1950s, but it speaks of 1934 from the outside to me. Pioneers of the American hamburger stand had to overcome the then social stigma the public had against ground beef, so that's why you see government-inspected beef being called steak burgers at the forefront of the sales pitch. Originally, they would grind it in the stores in front of customers to prove their legitimacy, an assurance I'd still appreciate very much today. I imagine once upon a time this is what a Steak and Shake looked like, and somehow this location has survived and ducked rounds of updating for decades, on the outside at least, although if I think about it the drive-thru is probably not original either. Okay, so I don't know enough about the history of this location. Maybe it was retro fakery even in the 50s, or this isn't even that old. I don't know yet, but I also kind of don't care because it looks so cool, which invites one to dine there, more so than ever, as restaurant design is currently trending more and more inconspicuously bland, seemingly made out of the same generic boxes manufactured by that factory in Texas. Someone is taking care of the place and trying to keep it together. I've seen various service contractor trucks here more than once over the years, and should that someone be willing to give me a video tour and their backstory, along with their obstacles and needs to seeing this thing survive, I'd be very happy to get the word out with another video. Here's some more grainy late-at-night footage of the place from when the whole world took off, and there was very little to do on a hot summer night, absent of a wolf with the red roses. Around this time, I filmed a number of locations in the middle of the night like this, some of which are the only shots I have of them. Now, if I were made dictator of Steak and Shake, I would go all in with the 1930s motif in the most sensible and cost-effective way, remodeling and stylizing all the restaurants going forward towards the most authentic vintage experience feasible. They ought to combine modern standards with good old-fashioned transparent integrity, and set it in a century-ago look that unabashedly owns and represents its black and white heritage right down to the paper hats and diner aesthetic. Offer the simplest, most consistent quality menu 24 hours a day that hallmarks a reliable and stable entity for consumers, and execute that specialty as well as possible. Don't cave to the typical chase of being modern and adapting with the times to stay relevant. Everyone else is trying to do that. Steak and Shake can distinguish itself as a unique experience once again by embracing its original spirit. Having said that, I would offer a weekly special all year round to keep that social media marketing tab open and folks coming through the door consistently. Not everyone craves hamburgers all the time, and the idea of catering to everyone's palate to capture every sale isn't realistic, so it's perfectly okay to give up trying. The model is well proven when done right, and at least one competitor is doing it better right now. Yet, they don't have the name and heritage of Steak and Shake. Then they need to make the price competitive but profitable. Those $4 meals may have boosted sales in the short term, but this is a textbook example of why you can't just do that and sustain long term. There's plenty of room yet to undercut certain competitors and win the sale with value. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm sick of listening to me, so here's one of my MOs of finishing out with some music video montage. As I say, thank you for watching.